The Royal St. Lucia Police Force's latest analysis, covering January to September 2025, paints a picture of progress tempered by peril. Overall crimes fell from 12,552 to 10,557 incidents, a 16% decline, driven by sharp drops in burglaries 40%, robberies 29%, and sexual offenses 26%. Homicides, however, edged down just 2% to 59, 57 of which are murders. Firearms featured in 48 cases, 27 gang-related and 8 as reprisals. Retaliatory acts blurring gang warfare with civilian vengeance, where families or friends unbound by organized crime hire proxies or strike personally, perpetuating a self-sustaining cycle that evades siloed policing tactics. This dynamic also feeds the attempted murder spike, where single shootings yield multiple survivors, each logged separately, alongside reclassifications from lesser harms to reflect lethal intent in a gun-permeated reprisal environment.
Reprisals can occur gang-on-gang return killings, but it doesn't have to be gangs. What we found is that in matters where the families, friends of victims are not involved in gangs, however, there is this desire that, or some sort of thought, well, illusional thought that them either doing it, effecting it themselves, or paying a person to conduct revenge on behalf of their family or their friend does occur. So that's why the distinction between gang, because it's not only gangs that has reprisal killings. However, in other homicides, yes, we have found instances where family members or friends do go back and attempt revenge on behalf of their lost loved one.
Detection stands at 32% with 18 cases solved, though attempted murders surged 105% to 41, many stemming from these escalating feuds. In response to media queries, Commissioner of Police Vern Gard conceded the emphasis on adaptive strategies, drawing from regional models like Jamaica's to boost clearance rates.
We have the opportunity of working with Jamaica and other Caribbean countries. And what we do, we look at some of the best practices and we implement them on a case-by-case basis in St. Lucia to support the direction of where we're going. I must say that when we look at some of the instruments for example, the clearance rate, I think last year, the last time I looked, and we had about 15 to 16% as being the mean clearance rate globally, right? I think we at what percentage right now in regards to clearance? Almost 45, 40%, you know? So relatively on the global stage, in regards to how we deal with our crime, you know, it is something for, you know, the rest of the globe to look at also. But we are looking at best practices, not only from Jamaica, but from all countries which possess the best practices.
Yet, the reprisals phenomenon demands nuanced approaches. While 534 search warrants and 243 intelligence-led operations disrupted gangs, the personal dimensions of revenge, where non-criminal actors enter the fray, require community engagement to break the cycle, as evidenced by collaborations with youth programs. ACP Luke De Freitas highlighted the perpetual chain of retribution in these cycles, noting that some homicide suspects have themselves become deceased victims, demanding sensitive handling to achieve investigative closure amid the ethical quandaries of retaliatory violence.
Anytime deaths occur, no matter who the deceased is, there is a measure of sensitivity that must be applied to the circumstance. And for that matter, as the police, I want to simply say that some of the suspects in some of the homicides are now deceased. I will not venture into how they met their demise, but yes, they are deceased, And it is for RSLBF and other stakeholders to have a discussion on how we approach these matters in terms of closure. So that is as much as I will say on that for now.
ACP De Freitas reported 19 homicides solved in 2025, plus 8 from prior years, crediting public tips amid brazen attacks near active patrols. The RSLPF underscored the Herculean efforts behind these breakthroughs, even as reprisals perpetuate a shadow war where one killing begets another across gang and civilian lines, straining resources and eroding community trust. Authorities vow sustained operations and legislative pushes like witness protection enhancements to dismantle this reprisal complexity. But, as Commissioner Gard noted, true progress hinges on public partnership to interrupt the vengeance before it spirals. Joachim Duplessis, HTS News Force.